Welcome back to Something in Common. I'm Nino.
I'm Blackberry.
And I clapped again. Sorry.
Welcome back to the show, y'all. Thank you for returning for this week's episode. If you like it here, please subscribe to the YouTube at Blackberry so you can catch more episodes, and subscribe to us on your favorite podcast app. Make sure you leave a comment, rate, and review. That helps us get seen. And share it with your friends on social media, because I'm sure they all have something in common. Ding, 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 with us.
Bam.
So today we're going to be talking about
something that
Doomsday.
I'm an expert at. Oh, Doomsday. I am quite the expert here.
Dating.
Mr. Bradshaw.
Oh, yes. Are we going to talk about Sex and the City today?
We are. We have to talk about Sex
Okay.
and the City. Yeah, we definitely have to talk about it.
Okay. So, I guess a good place to start is like, what is your overall dating experience like right now in your life?
Ooh. I don't know. That's a big question. I don't know.
What did you think we were talking about today? The beach?
I mean, that would have been a lot easier. What it's like right now? Jeez. What is yours like right now? Because actually, no, we'll start with you, because you barely started dating for real this year.
Yeah, and as soon as I started, I stopped.
All right, we'll talk about it. What did it look like starting, and what did it look like stopping?
I'm a little verklempt right now.
Yeah, you see?
Dating for me, like right now at this point in my life, is non-existent, and it's been non-existent for years. I did a little thing back in March.
Are we gonna be like telling the truth here or what?
I am telling the truth.
Okay.
Have I told you about anybody I've dated?
Okay, so maybe we should establish like what dating is and what like
fair
talking, because I feel like you went through like this talking thing where you were like on Tinder or Hinge, whatever you were on, and you were
so I downloaded like Tinder and Hinge like back in March. I was like, okay, I actually did it back in February, like after my birthday. I was like, okay, let's see what we can do, because for me, dating,
what would you call that though? Is that still like dating?
I feel like that's like actively trying.
That's putting yourself out there.
Putting myself out there a little more than normal.
Okay.
Because I'm kind of the belief that somebody is supposed to show up to my doorstep and date me. But also, if you show up to my doorstep, you're probably the killer.
You're going to get sent home.
Yeah.
Okay.
As we've discussed, no pop-ups.
Yeah.
So I tried that. I went on a date from Hinge. Really nice guy.
Was that am I allowed to say like what I know? Or I don't want to really reveal too much. Is that the different one?
Oh,
do you know what I'm talking about?
It was a white guy.
Okay, yeah. It was
him. He was very nice.
You fumbled that low key, but okay.
I don't know how deep we want to get into it, but there was a disconnect, and I felt like it was unfair for me to like continue playing in his face. So
that is fair. I wouldn't say like to play in anyone's face, but I think that you like kind of not forced the disconnect.
I definitely sabotaged it.
Yeah,
on purpose.
that's yeah. Let's talk about that.
And then after that, I had like, it wasn't like a hookup, but it was like, like
maybe a one night stand.
It wasn't a one night. We didn't have sex, but we linked up. And that was from like Tinder-ish.
So
and then,
did you go on a date though?
No, he just came over my house and I had his toes in my mouth.
Was that the original plan?
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I would say that was kind of like a hookup then.
And if you want to hear more about like my raunchy experiences, I have another podcast called Boys Next Door, and you can go check that out. But
cool.
We're gonna keep it classy over here.
Somewhat.
I ended up taking somebody I already knew out on a date, and that's within that same month.
I remember that one too. What gets you out of it? Okay, so you said it's non-existent. So what is it like? Because you feel like it's not going anywhere, or do you feel like it's just
because I just don't try and I don't put myself out there and I don't actually care enough to date that much. So, I mean, like in my mind,
are we talking about this topic?
Because
Okay, actually, no, this is good because I'm someone who's like a dater, and
Right.
you're not like a dater.
And there's somebody out there who can identify with the fact that it's just like it just
That's the
doesn't
person
happen.
for you. Okay. Uh,
So it's just like I don't put enough effort into it, and I think about it, and then like as soon
is
as
it
I
not rewarding? Is that why you don't, or is it like earlier in the kitchen? Because you guys don't know about this. Earlier in the kitchen, he said if everyone got into relationships knowing that it's gonna end. Like everyone, like you said something, people be happier, and I was like, actually, I think the opposite. Like I want to go in thinking it's gonna last forever. So are you saying?
so you want to be
that-
Delulu?
Well, no.
Well, yes.
Okay, wait. So I feel like with you, with what you're telling me right now, is that it's the investment, like the time, the effort, the energy is just not worth the investment.
It's not that it's not worth it because I don't know that it's not worth it. I just don't try.
But there has to be a reason why you don't try. It's like
Like
if you
it's
don't try
just-
something, it's like you know you're not going to be good at it, or it's difficult, or whatever it is.
I mean, maybe subconsciously, maybe there's some fear there.
what kind of
Sure.
fear? Like fear of rejection, or like fear of heartbreak, like
Maybe heartbreak. But like
that keeps me
Truly.
on the horse. To be honest,
think about it like I'm not a NASCAR racer.
okay,
I have no interest in
interesting
that.
analogy.
Right? It's totally unrelated, but it's like so I don't think about it.
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of where I am with dating.
Okay, this is just back of the burner.
Yeah,
For
it's
you.
just like okay.
Well, that makes sense. For me, I would say that I am dating.
Okay.
I don't know. I have someone new every week that I'm like, you're my favorite this week.
How does that work? Like how do you turn your brain to just be like this is fun?
I think I just don't have any expectations. Like, I don't really go into it like, you're going to be the one, or you're going to be my husband, or like, I mean, don't get me wrong. I do have people, though, that I do feel that way about. I shouldn't say people that I feel that way about, but there's been people that I do feel that way about.
Okay.
So it's a little bit different. But like, I feel like if you're dating for fun, that doesn't necessarily mean only sex. I feel like it could mean a plethora of things. It could be like, I just want to go out on dates, or I want to have someone to go to the mall with me, or whatever the fuck it is. In my case, sometimes I just want people to help me pack and move. So I'm like, I know that you like me. You want to help me move?
There's a part of me that wants to be that way, just to like date just to date. And it's like, I don't think there's anything wrong with it. It's just, and it's not really specific to dating. It's kind of like what we talked about on the friendship episode where I was voted class mute. Like, I just don't, like, people aren't just like, it's not like something I'm very good at doing.
Okay, so it sounds like you feel like you're not really like a people type of person, which obviously already puts you like at a least likely chance according to society. Like if you're not out there and actively like I'm dating, then you're not going to find someone. So do you feel like if you do put yourself out there because you've had this like sort of embarrassment when you were younger, do you feel like it's
wasn't
automatically like, do you feel like if you were to try to date and then like maybe the date, it was the other way around and like they weren't feeling you and then you're like, well, I don't want to date anyway. Like one of those things.
I don't ever get that. I don't have this fear of rejection. And people have asked me that before. It's like rejection. It's like not rejection. It's just lack of wanting to do it.
Okay.
I don't know how else to explain it other than just that. And
I want to do it.
And see, there's the difference. Like I don't have the urge.
I think part of it is the attention. Like, like, I don't know. Like, I mean, I know that I look nice, but that's nice sometimes when, like, if I get a haircut. Like, right now I have a haircut, but you're here. But if you weren't here, I'd be like, all right, I'm going to go on a date. Like, I look good. Like, I'm trying to get my phone blown up. Like, I'm going out and I'm getting people to buy me drinks.
And for me, I'm like, wow, I get to sit on the patio tonight.
But I have those moments, too. Sometimes where, like, but then it kind of ties into, like, wanting to have someone to sit on the patio with you.
Now, I'm not gonna lie, like I have those moments where I'm like, oh, this would be cute. Or like, I like to cuddle, and I cuddle a pillow every night, and that helps me go to sleep. And I'm like, oh, this would be nice if this were a piece of flesh.
Do you ever think of someone when you hold the pillow or no?
No.
Really?
No.
Sometimes I do.
If Now there have been times when I've been like talking to people and I'll imagine that person, but
Yeah, I think that's pretty normal.
yeah.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't feel that way, then there's like some sort of like like off chemistry.
So why aren't you in a relationship?
That's a curveball. I don't know.
You want to be in one.
It's difficult to find someone that you really connect with at times. I was not expecting that question. Given he knows stuff that we are not going to talk about on this episode or like on camera. So it's funny that he's asking me that. All right. Well, I'll give you guys at least a little bit. I'm not in a relationship because so when I first moved out here, and I don't know if this is even like a subtopic, but when I first moved out to Arizona, I was like, you know what? I'm like going to be serious, career, dating, like I'm going to do it all. And I ended up meeting this guy and we had really great chemistry on every aspect that you could, whatever, when it comes to dating. And then I was very like, I want a relationship and I want to be married. And he was just like, I don't know that I want anything. And I was just like, okay. So I put him in this box, like friends with benefits, but because I was so focused like on work, he was kind of the only guy that I was like actually like messing around with. Well, he wasn't actually, he was the only one I was messing around with. And then he was like, I actually want to date you. So it wasn't like a hard decision for me to say yes because he was the only one. I would have still said yes, probably, even if there were other people. But yeah, then we dated and it was kind of like on and off because there were other outside issues, not with other people, like not like, oh, like stop talking to this guy or whatever. But there were just different roadblocks in our journey that never boop.
Does that happen a lot in talking phases with people? Like you just
no, actually with talking phases, I always feel like there's like more power dynamic issues.
In
like,
what way?
Like, do you remember when I went to Australia and I met that guy?
Okay.
And he was very like into me, whatever. And then later on in the year, we ended up like seeing like, okay, maybe this could work. I wanted to relocate anyway. And we started hanging out. But then he like wanted to like control like what I do and like.
Oh.
And he's older, I like older guys. So it's like. They're very like they don't look at me as like, oh, like you're younger, so listen to me, but I think there's just kind of like I know best, or like I
find that with older guys, like they are ready to like settle down like right now.
That's what it's not true.
In my experience, they like want to do it now.
They tell you that, and then when you get there, it's completely different.
Well, explains why I don't get there.
Yeah. This is fine.
For me, like dating is just like this thing where it's like, it's fine if I do it. It's fine if I, oh, the mic is falling. I thought you were talking about something else. Girl, just put it back on there.
I will, just wait. Keep talking. Leave this in here.
Yeah, I'm not cutting that out. It's just this thing where it's like, well, I mean, I could be doing this right, but also there's this, I guess this subconscious feeling where I'm just like, you could be playing in my face and I actually don't have time to lose my appetite right now. So let's just not go down this road.
That sounds like
you
fear,
wanna,
though.
Maybe.
Like not insecurity, because I don't think it's like anything you like. Has anyone lied to you before though?
Yeah, everybody lies.
I mean, yeah, but like in a traumatizing way where it's like,
yeah.
Okay, so maybe that is like an insecurity thing.
When I was younger, I think I was more of a hopeless romantic.
That's interesting because you said that you never even really dated when you were younger. I would have never guessed. Honestly, I didn't know that about you.
The first person that I remember dating seriously as like an over 18-year-old person, the way that ended was like so traumatizing. I don't think I've recovered from that, truly. Really? I think I've recovered from it, but I think I approach relationships very differently because of that one relationship. And it wasn't like we never were like boyfriend and boyfriend, but
yeah,
I was very traumatized. And so,
how old was he? Was he older than you?
About a few years.
I I get that, but it's never like scared me away. Like I remember when I went through that really, really, really big breakup.
Mm-hmm. The one.
We had no. He was not the one.
No, I'm saying that was the one.
Oh
breakup.
yeah, that was the one like massive breakup. That was like, it took a while. Like it took a while to like kind of undo stuff. I kind of feel like barely now. I feel like I'm like more of me. But I think that there's always going to be a part of me that's a little bit different because of that.
Yeah, it's like if you touch a stove when it's hot, you're not going to want to touch a hot stove again.
But would you say that you're scarred? I don't know that I would say that.
I think I used to be scarred, and I think I used to like hold on to the scar. Because like
you didn't want it to heal, almost. Like you wanted it to heal, but you didn't want to address the work that came into like making it.
Like I wanted to like hold everybody else responsible for that same scar.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
And that's not fair to people. But now it's just like I'm so it's like a muscle dating. If you don't use it, you lose it. And I just have not. That's how I feel. I just have not. It's not like getting back on a bike.
That is true.
It's not the same for me.
Yeah, because when I started dating again, I waited like about 6-7 months before like I was like ready. No. I meant like after the big breakup. That's a long time. No. I feel like that's a long time.
Do you know the last time I was in a serious dating?
Well, I didn't say serious. I just said like I got out there. I fucked people. Jesus Christ. That's what I meant.
Okay. I'm not minimizing it. I'm just saying like 6-7 months is like, okay.
I feel like it's long. I mean.
But you're somebody who's like an active dater.
Okay, but yeah, that is true. But I also feel like it's different. Like, so I'm like, dating is such a complex word because like from 18 to 20, I was in a relationship. And then from like 20 to 21-ish, I was like seeing someone. This is a long story, but it was like my ex's friend. And I know I sound like a homewrecker right now, but it was because he cheated on me. So I was like, I'm gonna go fuck your friends. Yeah, whatever. I hate that I even said that. Can you cut that out?
Very fire sign energy.
Well, it was because of the song. Rule number 1 and be a boss ass bitch. If you're playing you, then rule number 2, fuck his best friend. I was young. I would never do that again. I learned the hard way. But that was kind of like a thing. And then from 21 till 24, I was in a relationship. And so this is actually the longest that I've been single. So it's been, 5 years now?
Okay.
Yeah. But I mean, I was kind of like in a relationship just without a title, but I don't even want to call it like a situationship because it wasn't really that.
What do you think was like either in like a specific experience or like in general, what usually is the cause of the end of a dating situation for you?
Honestly,
or is it all different things?
In hindsight, I think it's always been me not being like, I don't want to say not ready, but like not doing something. Like the Australian guy, he was very like, are you going to move? Like you need to move now. And I was like, I don't think I'm ready for that yet. And then like with a very special person, that was like, I'm not moving to that state that you live in. And even now I'm still like, I'm not moving to that state that you live in. But then the other one that you know about, I think that one was just a little bit different because like I think as us again being gay, like you can't really, it's different. Like when you can't really follow like those type of dating norms, like as like heterosexual people do. Like I think a big roadblock was like someone not necessarily being like open and out and stuff like that. I think that's kind of what stopped everything.
For me, I think it's just been
you.
I think it's been me.
I know.
And it's not because I'm doing...
Actually, listen, I'm not going to hog this, but I just want to say this because he told me that this guy came over one time and he's like, I didn't like his outfit. And I was like, okay. And then you're like, I was already thrown off. And I'm like, okay. Then he brought a game over and you didn't want to play the game.
No, too many details.
Okay, sorry.
It wasn't that. It's more so just like... And just to be clear, it's not like I'm not like super innocent, but I'm not doing things to hurt people. Like I'm not like cheating on them or like, doing like backstabby type of stuff, things that have been done to me.
Oh.
I'm not like, I don't do those type of things. But I think it's a lack of what I do that keeps me out of a relationship. Like my guard is always up, so I'm not very open. I'm not very like, expressive in the beginning. I'm not
I got
very.
a question for you. What would someone have to do to rid the guard? And don't say I don't know.
Because I was gonna say I don't know.
No, because you do know.
I don't know.
You do know.
How?
Because I know what would make me feel comfortable. Like, I know what I need to feel emotionally safe.
And what is that?
We're not talking about it yet. We're going to go. This is up to you.
For me to feel emotionally safe, it would just take a lot of time.
No, because you could be with someone for a year, and if they're not giving you what you need, you just wasted a year.
But I wouldn't waste a year. Not at my big age. At my young age, I've wasted a couple years.
Okay, that's true. But then that already tells me that you know what you need then. Because like you said, you wouldn't waste a year. So if you're not getting what you need at a certain amount of time within the relationship.
Emotional security.
What does that look like though? Emotional security for me is not like, oh, I love you. I mean, I think that's important. But to me, it's more like, I don't need a lot of reassurance, but I need, like, I have to know that you're like in this. Like, if you're not willing to die for me, then like, I don't even want to be with you.
Okay. That is, I don't want somebody to be so in love with me that they want to die for me.
Why?
I
think that's like the definition of love.
I mean, like, I love you. I would take a bullet for you.
So
but
you die for me.
I don't like it framed that way.
Okay.
Because it's not given ride or die. Like, we're not doing that. Like, I mean, I get what you're saying, but it's like, I would rather, okay, this is what I would need for me to like let my walls down.
You're hearing it here first. Let's go.
I need somebody who is not coming in trying to change me. Meaning, like, you need to like just accept me for who I am, what I am. Like, of course there's things that like you can like, teach me, I guess. I don't need to be taught anything. I hate when people say that.
Do you see how defensive he is already? Jeez, okay.
It's true. Like, I don't want, like, people like, oh, I want somebody to teach me something. What do you want them to teach you? And they never have an answer for that because it's just some dumb made up shit that they rehearse and recite because they hear other people say it.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. It's very transactional.
I need to just feel like you got me and I don't know how to explain it, but because I don't really think about these types of things, so like there's nothing.
And this is why it's important to date, because I feel like the more that you actually date, the more you find out what you don't like and what you think that you need. You realize like, this is actually not what I like at all.
Yeah, I don't. I guess to answer the question, I don't yearn for like that type of like affection from a man. So
I don't think you have to though. I think maybe in your mind, I think that you've painted that picture of like, in order for me to actively date or to pursue something, like it must mean this, like I need this or whatever it is, when it's not any of those things.
I think at the end of the day, like if I end up in a relationship, it's gonna be with somebody who it just has to be like, the light just has to turn on for me to be like.
So you're delusional.
I'm not delusional.
You're a dreamer.
You don't think that like a click is like
a click is definitely
necessary?
A click is necessary 100%, but I also think that there is this idea that if you just click, that everything falls into place, and that's not how it works. An example is the weekend that I had.
Okay.
Everything clicks, but it needs to be more than just a click. Like there's actual it's so hard, like being restricted and not being able to like tell you like if we were on the phone.
Yeah, but I don't know. I just don't know how to answer that. Like, what do I need to like let my walls down? It just would have to come to me.
Date, so let's bring it back home. If you don't want to date and you're not really sure what you need, what are some of the things that you would? Well, you don't even want a relationship, so it doesn't matter. You don't have to figure those things out. Do you want a relationship? Yes or no?
Well, at some point,
yes or no?
At some point.
Well, what age? What age?
I don't know. I've been single all of my life.
I would probably not date you, to be honest with you.
That's what I get a lot, and so as I come in contact with more people, I get more of that. It's like, oh, you have no experience. You can't get hired for this job.
It's not so much about experience. I think it's more so like because even just like with us having this conversation, like when I'm on a date, it kind of feels like an interview. Like the first time, like if we have that click that you're talking about, like then I'm like, ooh, I want to get to know you. Like I actually kind of feel like this could go somewhere. And like if you and I, we click on a friendship level, right? So like if we hung out and like we were on a date and then I start asking these questions, you're like, well, I don't know what I want, and no, like I'm like, I'm not wasting my time because
I
you're
mean,
just.
that's fair.
Yeah.
But I also think like I'm also not trying to give nobody the cheat code, and I'm not just saying that like for like because we're recording a podcast. I'm saying like if somebody asks me like, what are you looking for? I just be like, well, what do you have to offer?
No, you should give them the cheat code because that shows if they're asking for the cheat code, they want. I'd be more angry if I gave you the cheat code and you're not doing it. Like if you're putting the effort after I've given you the answer, like I'm not a puzzle, so like I don't want there to be room for confusion or oh I thought or whatever. Like this should be easy. It should be natural. It should feel like this is what I need and you know exactly what I need. And if you're not doing it, then yeah, then there's.
But
no
I also
reason for us to
feel
keep doing
like
this.
I would like to see how somebody shows up and decide if I want to participate.
That sounds like a test.
It's not a test.
Yes,
it's
it
just
is.
like who are you and like what do you like if on a
It's
basic level if you want to be in a relationship,
Yeah.
if you want kids, marriage, etc., etc., etc. I think those type of things you should know. But I'm not gonna tell you, oh,
Not
you need to
necessarily.
like grab my hair at 2 a.m. every night so I know that you exist. Like
Okay, no. See, so like, I'm not saying to instruct someone on how to be a partner, but I'm
That's what I
saying, no, we're not building a boyfriend. But I do think that it's important that you are open and transparent about the things that you do need. Like, if let's say you're not someone who hates if your partner goes out without you or anything like that, and you are like, well, let me just see how they act. Like if they're going to text me, if they're going to reach out to me, if they're going to, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Without being like, well, make sure you check in and make sure you text me and send me pictures of you guys. Like I wouldn't do that type of shit.
Right.
But I would see like, okay, well, let's see how you act when you go out. That's different.
Fair.
But like, if
I get to see who you are and see if I choose to participate. If I'm the type of person that needs you to text me every 5 minutes and you don't, then I know that I'm not moving forward with this.
But that's different though, because then I feel like because you're not telling them like how to treat you, because that's more of like that's like catering to kind of like an insecurity though. You're not someone who needs someone to text you 5 minutes. Right. Probably if someone texts you 5 minutes, you'd be like, what the fuck are you doing? Just come home.
What do you want? Leave me alone.
Yeah. But to me in my head, if what I needed was this, like let's say he goes out, he does his thing and I don't hear from him at all, and he comes back at 2 a.m. and he's like super lovey on me and whatever, I'd be like a little suspicious, you know. I'm not gonna lie, I'd be like, what the fuck did you do? Why are you trying to kiss up on me, you know? But
maybe he's drunk.
I know, but I would be kind of like, you know, whatever.
Trauma.
But yeah, actually for my first relationship, whatever, anyways, different topic. But if I felt some type of way and he was just like, oh, I don't know. It's hard. I don't know. I can't explain it.
Basically what I'm saying.
It's different if you're like, talk nice to me and treat me this way versus like, hey, in order for me to feel heard and seen, this is like the way that you have to communicate with me, which doesn't necessarily mean cater to my insecurities or text me all the time. Or
I think some bridges need to be crossed when you get there. And for me,
True.
I don't know what bridges lie ahead. And I haven't done the work to figure out like, what do I need to let my walls down? I just haven't done it.
Do you feel like you've spent enough alone time though, like with yourself, to where you feel like I know who I am at this point in my life?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think half the battle's over then, because there's a lot of people who date and they're like trying to figure out who they are through other people, and it never works.
The problem for me though is like, I'm so like, of course I have my like days where I'm like, you know, what the hell is going on in my brain, right? Mm-hmm. But I know fundamentally who I am. The problem is like that doesn't always translate, because like I get a lot that I'm standoffish, which I'm not. You think I am, clearly, but I get that a lot. I was just at a friend's house the other day and like hanging out. Everybody was playing games, and then at a certain time, like my battery shut down on my body and my brain, and so I just stepped away, got on my phone. And then the comment came, oh, hey, this is Mr. Standoffish. It's like, but I was just interacting with everybody. So, like, I think my personality a lot of the times is I'm not easy to read. I'm not like.
Yeah. You're
I'm not
introverted.
I'm super introverted.
But and selectively introverted. And so I think it's confusing when you when people who actually know you, and then like they bring you around other people to experience that version of you, and you're very like mute.
And that's not my fault. That's y'all's.
Mr. Mute of the Year.
It's not my problem.
I get
like,
it.
what am I supposed to do about that? Like, I'm not gonna be out here faking it just to be friendly with everybody. Like, if I'm not in the
But I
space
also
where I
think-
want to be extroverted, I don't have
I
to
do
be.
think to be in a relationship though, you have to have evolved, and so I do feel like thinking about who you are. I always look in the mirror, and I always look in the mirror, but I always meant like I think to myself, am I someone that I would date? And then I'll ask myself, like, if I say no, then I'll like think about why. And if it's very surface level, then I'm just like, well, that's like an insecurity. So that's something that you have to like fix. Is there anything else that would make you not want to date you? And there's times where I feel like yes and no. So would you date you with who you are now?
I would date me, but I would have a lot of complaints.
Well, then I think
And my complaints would be kind of like what I just said. Like, why
you
not
would not
texting me
reach
back?
out. I was gonna say you wouldn't look
like,
at that. You
excuse
see?
me, like, but
Or
that
being dry, or I said this and he didn't say it back, or like, yep.
yeah, but that kind of okay. We just unpacked something. I do need reassurance when I'm dating somebody.
I think especially when you're dating someone for the first time.
Yeah.
I think like a new dater like that, like you definitely need to.
You mean first time with this person? Like,
yeah. Like I think you kind of like,
Like,
establish it like as it goes.
is
on.
it different when you spin the block? Because I'm not doing that.
If we spin the block, then we have to like really there has to be a reason why.
Yeah, because otherwise it'll end up like Bennifer, and I'm just like
Bennifer.
not.
But see, I don't know that it's a trust issue. I think they just got problems, but
Somebody have problems.
somebody got problems. I think almost if you do spin the block, I do think that the reassurance just has to come that both of you are really committed to being completely present and not worried about anything that happened in the past. Because if that's the case, then you guys shouldn't have came around the block again. I think of it like, I'm a very visual person, so I think of it in the very literal sense of like a neighborhood being like gentrified. Like if we were in the projects and like we moved out of the projects and now it's a gentrified neighborhood, like we got to trust that they're not shooting on the block no more.
I mean, sometimes you need to come back and shoot up the block to bring the rent prices down, though.
And that's where the tests come in, and you have to be willing to stick it through, I guess.
Is there any reasons that you like somebody is absolutely undateable for you?
Give me an example. I don't know that I understand the question.
Like for me, something that makes somebody undateable is like somebody who's like I'm a
an ick?
homebody, right?
Oh,
Kind of like
okay,
an ick,
okay.
right? Like I'm a
Yeah,
homebody, and
I
it's
do
it's
have a
okay if you're not a homebody, but if like you're in the club every weekend, that kind of makes you undateable for me because I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I just feel like at our age, it's like weird.
You would
I
think
don't
so.
really love someone who's in the scene.
Okay.
Because I'm not really like, I don't really like to participate in those type of activities. The look that you just gave me. I'm
trying to figure out what road we going down.
The yellow
Wrong
brick
road.
The yellow brick
The
road.
rainbow road.
The rainbow road. Yes, we love it.
So you don't want somebody who's like super like.
I mean, actually, no, because the guy that I dated in October, he was very much so in the scene. Like, I mean, like he was going on cruises and he was wearing like butterfly wings and he was old. I mean, he was in his 40s and he was still out there doing it. But I was very accepting because I was like, this isn't my thing, but this is your thing. And this one makes you happy. And I think we're both on our own journey. But if we have this sort of like, if there's, I don't know, I just feel like
I think there has to be some social compatibility.
And I think that's what I learned because I wasn't trying to change him by saying, don't do those things or like the things I like. But he was very much like, oh, you don't know, like you have to do this. And I'm like, but I don't have the desire to do that. I don't want to dress in women's clothes. I don't want to hang out with your white friends in like wigs and dance to Cher. You know, like I don't want to do those things. And so like, I think that's kind of like a little bit of a, not an ick, but like, I just know we won't be compatible.
Are there any physical things?
Physical things? I know some people will say like teeth. I guess I don't really care about crooked teeth, but if they're like
They got to be jacked up for it to
If
be
they're like plaqued, then I think that's like different.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't really care. Like I don't know about anything physical.
Hands and feet are like deal breakers for me.
Okay, maybe not. Well, you like feet. I don't really care about feet, but hands sometimes. Yeah, like I like nice hands. I feel like I have nice hands. Nice hands, kind of.
It's the hands and feet for me.
Okay.
Yeah. Other than that, I don't really have like, I mean, I have to be physically attracted to you. But that is a range of things. I don't have a type.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I have like, if I could build a man, I know what he would look like, but I don't have a type.
Okay. You don't have a type?
Mm-mm.
You don't like white men? Allegedly.
The thing about dating white is like, okay, I'm very Dr. Umar on the inside. Like, I'm very like pro-black, down at the marches, MLK,
Yeah.
Rosa Parks,
Harriet
Sojourner
Tubman
Truth.
taking slaves to freedom.
Yeah. Like, so for me, the disconnect comes from like how I feel about black people and how I feel about racism. How do I justify that by dating a white person?
So do you feel like you'd be betraying like your culture if you? Like,
I feel like my ancestors have a lot of questions for me. Even though I don't have to answer to them,
Yeah.
it's like love is love, and if I
yeah.
found love with a white person, like I'm not gonna like deny
You
myself
wouldn't.
of that.
Yeah. Okay.
But like I don't going for a white person like takes a lot, and it takes too much to the point where it's not fair to the white person.
Yeah.
Because like you
okay,
should
I
want to
see.
date somebody just because
Who
you like
actually
them.
wants you, right? I have for the last 5 years, I've actually only dated white men.
Mm-hmm.
It hasn't been intentional though.
Are you sure?
Yeah, really, it hasn't been. Well, I shouldn't say that I've only 98% of them have been white.
Okay.
Because there was that one time in Mexico. But yeah, I don't know. I think it is different for sure. I think for a really long time, I was just curious to date outside of like what I was used to.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't think that white guys would like me, but I always was like very curious, like, ooh, like I want to be with a white boy. And then like when I started actually dating them, I was like, wow, like you guys live in a completely different world. Like it was very, yeah. But the white men that I have dated have been very like woke.
Yeah, like culturally, it's just like I don't know, and I'm not against it. Like I definitely would date like outside of my race if it presented it, but I don't look to that.
You don't seek it, yeah.
Yeah.
I got it. But you're open to if it comes.
What are your thoughts on dating to marry? Like, is that the mindset you have when you start dating someone, or you just like I'm dating, this is fun, or it's like marriage always in the background?
Okay, am I clear? Abso-fucking-lutely.
You date to marry, and why?
Earlier in this episode, I said like there's a difference between dating for fun and then you date, I think, for serious. I think when you're dating for fun, it's that you're not really looking for something, but you seek sort of like that companionship. Maybe not necessarily like a fuck buddy, but just someone to kind of wet your whistle sometimes, whatever. But now where I'm at, I'm definitely like dating to marry because I believe in marriage, and I think
what is it about the marriage that gets you girls so warm and toasty? Like what makes it so interesting?
I think just like the concept of building with someone, like that being your person. Like I think of like even our friendship of being 12 years long. Like I couldn't even imagine what that would feel like because we're different people when we're in relationships.
Yeah, but we also don't live together, don't see each other, and don't talk to each other every day. So,
yeah, that is true. But I'm thinking, well, okay, yeah, you're so fucking literal. I meant like just the idea of like you're like my person, right? Like friend wise, like you're my person. Like when someone's asked like, oh, like do you have a lot of friends out here? Like I always think of like, oh no, my best friend lives in another state. You know what I mean? Like that sort of thing. But I couldn't imagine like having someone that's like there for you and an emotional, romantic type of way for that many years. I just think, I don't know, I just think it's beautiful.
I mean, I don't think it's not beautiful. I think my view of marriage is obviously skewed because of my upbringing. Like, I've never
You know
seen.
what? Yeah. No, keep going.
I've
I'm
never.
gonna call you out.
And it's not that. Before I say that, it's not that I am holding my relationship expectations to like my parents, right?
Mm-hmm.
But that obviously has something to do with it. I've just never seen a successful relationship. Like, not many people in my family got married. Like,
why do we feel like we have to constantly see something successful in order to make it successful?
For me,
I don't think, even if you think about where you're at now, I know that we have an episode on this, so I'm going to jump the gun a little bit, but you didn't see anyone move out of the state and make it work, and you did it. Like, you're building.
But that's because I wanted to do it.
Exactly. So if you want a marriage to work, you'll make it work.
But fundamentally, now this is where my thoughts and beliefs come in. And I'm saying my thoughts and beliefs are like obviously influenced by what I saw growing up. I don't see marriage as necessary or important.
Yeah.
I don't aspire to marriage. Like, I don't. I'm not saying I would.
When it's worded that way, then it's different. Because I don't think that it's so important and it dictates like, oh my God, I'll be a failure if I don't ever get married.
Yeah.
I just think it's something in life that I would like to experience, which I think is dedicating my romantic feelings to someone for the long run.
I mean, I think that's so cute. I do.
Thank you.
But
now he wants marriage.
The white picket fence and the kids and the house and the dog, and it's like,
I don't want no dog though.
Dogs are almost a deal breaker for me when dating people. Just to answer that.
Oh my God, that is a deal breaker. Yeah, that is a deal breaker.
Like, I try to fight through it a lot of times with people because a lot of people have dogs, and I'm like,
depending on the dog though. But you know what I always hate? I've gone on a few dates where like they've like, oh, come over, like because they're getting ready, not because we're gonna do anything. And like they have a dog, and I hate having to pretend because then their dog is like jumping up on me, and I'm like, I thought like animals have senses. Like, you should know I don't like this. Like,
well, in fairness, a lot of people are not properly training their dogs. They don't keep up their dogs grooming, you know. So it's like hair all over the place. I was hanging out with a guy once, and like when I went home, there was dog hair all in my dreads, and I was just like, this is a nightmare.
That was a hookup
literally
episode of mine that I put on my close friends.
And we didn't even hook up. It was just like I was just over
I shouldn't have, but yeah.
But like marriage for me is just like this thing where it's just like we've been conditioned as a society to see that as the next step in a relationship. And for me, I feel like if you're in love with somebody, you don't have to qualify that with the marriage.
I just like the word. Like, if not the marriage word, but I like the husband. Like, it feels so much more.
And for me, that's the
meaningful.
problem. Like, you should want the love and not the title.
Well, no, I definitely want the love. I don't care about the title, but I also just feel like it makes things. It's so funny that you say this. So I guess I'm gonna just be real. The guy that I was very much so. I'm trying to find the right word.
In love with.
Yes, still am, but it was an issue of titles. And so, like, even now to this day when we talk, he's like, when we were together, and I'm like, we were never together. And he's just like, I don't like that. And I was like, why? He's like, because I love you. And I'm like, doesn't matter. We weren't together. So it's like,
I think titles are important.
I think they're important. And so, like, for me, I wouldn't want to be with someone. And this sounds so stupid, right? Because, like, but I haven't experienced it yet, so I'm not there. But, like, from the little bit that I did experience, if I was with someone for like 12 years and it's like, oh, this is my boyfriend, like at this point I'm like, what
that
the
sounds
fuck are
weird
we
to
doing?
you.
Like, no, you should be like, this is my husband. Like, that sounds more adult, serious, committed. Like, that's what I think. That's just what it comes down to.
For me, I'm less concerned about, like, if I was with somebody for 12 years and we were unmarried, I would be less concerned about the title and more concerned about, do we still love each other after 12 years? And if we do,
fair.
Fine.
Okay, so then what if we just say this then? I think a middle ground for both of us is if I don't care about the whole court, like, signing that we're married, but we would have to have a conversation where I'm like, I'm going to introduce you as my husband because we've been together for too long. So it's going to, do you still love me? Yes, I still love you. Okay, we're husbands.
That's the thing that concerns me about people who want to get married. Like, the image of marriage is what they want more than they want the sanctity of a long-lasting love. That's how I feel about a lot of people.
I also feel like society has tainted though what marriage is, because it's supposed.
That's a fact.
You were only supposed to get married, and you were only supposed to do those things if you had the love. And like, I do believe that love is a verb. I believe it's an action. I don't believe that it's a feeling, because there's times where like you wake up and you don't feel like doing shit, but you still love your fucking whoever, your cousin, your parents, whatever. Not for us though. But anyways, so yeah, I feel like if you still love someone, and that's like marriage is basically like promising, like the days that I wake up and I don't feel like loving you, I'm gonna do it.
Well, you know honestly, I think marriage, I think the way marriage probably started way, way, way back in the day is, I'm a man, you're a woman, we need to procreate, and you need to go out and find the fish, and you need to cook the fish. That's what marriage, like, think about it.
We'll have to Google that. Can someone Google that?
I'm for real. It's more so like of certain, like, I don't think a lot of people, like, think about arranged marriages. Like, a lot of people are not getting married because, like, they truly are in love. They're getting married because this is the thing to do. We need to take care of the household. And when you said the court thing, like, if I was to get married, right, my ideal situation is, we're not going to have this big fucking stupid ass party where there's like 500 people here and we have to wear these fancy outfits. Like, sign the papers. You're my power of attorney if I get sick.
Okay.
And let's just, and then we can call each other husbands. But like, I just don't see, I think what really turns me off is the party. I think weddings are
you're an introvert.
Fucking corny and stupid.
Okay, well, to be fair, yeah, I agree. I mean, they are a little bit corny, and then like you have to take pictures of everyone. My ideal, there's only one person that I can imagine right now marrying.
You're down bad.
I would, but it's not. Why is it down? It's not down. It's up.
Down bad just means like you're simping hard, babe.
I am. There's only one person that I could imagine marrying, and if we did do that, I would imagine it being very small. Like, I could see us getting married out of the country, but just like probably just us, the officiant or the priest, whoever the fuck it is, probably like on the beach. That's late at night, and just loving the experience, the moment, and then maybe having like a small party for like family and friends, but not the traditional wedding where it's like, we're gonna sit at a table now, and I'm gonna come out, and we're gonna introduce me as Mr. Like none of that shit. Just a celebration, just a party.
Sex in the City spoiler ahead. How
hers was a little hood though. I don't know about that. That was like real backyard barbecue. Like,
I mean, she literally got married on the street. I was like,
yeah.
But no. For me is like close friends, the priest. Let's get it done with. Versus Stanley, who gets married to somebody who cheats on him, and Liza Minnelli is being Beyonce. Like, that is not ideal for me. It's like a circus. Like, if we were to get married, I just feel like we've been together for like, this is such a turn off. Nobody's gonna want to date me after this.
Maybe someone who's up for the challenge. It'll be rewarding.
It will be, because I'm very once the walls do come down though, I'm very like.
I think the walls are gonna come down. I think that you're just blocking it. I mean, if we're being honest, if we're gonna have like, what did you call it? Armchair talk, or what did you call it?
Armchair therapy.
Armchair therapy. It sounds to me like you are purposefully not engaging in certain self-serving activities, such as like letting your walls down, or like putting yourself out there and letting people see who you are outside of being introverted, because you haven't seen what that looks like to be successful. And so you only have seen like the cons of it. And like, it doesn't help that I call you and tell you the bad things too. But I think because of it, you again, it's like, this doesn't really feel like worth my peace or my time.
I think that's a fair assessment.
But it's honestly, it's fun to kind of challenge yourself in that way, to be more open and stuff like that. Like, honestly, I've been working on like trying to be nicer and like more affectionate and present with the people that I am dating, because I can be very like, even small things, like if someone would be like all over me, I'd be like, oh, like get off of me. But
Yeah.
just because it felt good to say like get off of me, but I really was like loving it, and now I'm at a place where like I'm like,
It's, you know,
I love
to
that you're on me. You
to
know,
that point, it's hard for me to receive.
it's hard because you make it hard. Once you like get out of your head, it's so easy. That's what I'm actually learning. I'm learning that like a lot of stuff like is in my head, and like once I'm actually present, and I learned that a very basically I was having sex, and we had a lot of sex, and this was I wasn't gonna see him for a while, and so I got in my head, and I was like getting soft, and I was like, this is so embarrassing, like what the fuck, I'm not someone who does this, you know, like I'm young and beautiful, and so it was because, but I was honest, because then he was just like, oh my god, like are you like not into me, like, you know, like it kind of like threw him off a bit, and then I was just like, no, like I think I'm just doing my head, like I want it to be perfect and I need it to be this way, and like in my mind I constructed how it needed to be, and when it wasn't, when I was like doing, like I'm not trying to like show you, but when I was actually like going through the motions, I was like, this isn't how I imagined it. But then once I let it out and we talked about it, and it wasn't like a big conversation, it was just kind of like, it's not you,
Yeah.
you know, like it's just in my head. And then like him meeting me there and saying like yeah, I was like, he's like, I kind of feel like I was being like performing weird because like I wanted it to be perfect. So just get out of your head, and you know, all your walls will come down.
know,
By the way, I did redeem myself twice that same time.
period.
I'm about to let people
Solid as a rock. So remember when I just told you about the relationship that I was in that like fundamentally changed?
Was that the one that sparked the book?
Sparked the hoop?
The book that you made? Is that the one?
No,
Oh.
that was another dummy. But he.
Do you have any Cancer placements in you?
I got a book. My moon is in Cancer, and so this is
why.
It's insane. This is kind of what I was just about to get into. I'm always in conflict because there is a lover boy inside of me, and I'm full of emotions. But I'm like an Aquarius sun and rising, so I'm like the Aquarius is like always beating the shit out of the Cancer, and the Cancer loses because like the Aquarius is more logical about it. You know?
The Aquarius is the fucking overarching shadow, and the Cancer, when it comes out to play, it gets intimidated because it only sees the shadow, so it goes back to its shell. That's what you do. You keep going back into your shell.
Yes,
Oh, I should have known that.
but
I thought you told me that too.
Huh. And that's just my way of blaming the stars, right? But to when I was dating this person who like tore me up for the first time for real, like
physically?
as an adult. What do you mean physically? I mean, he did have some good dick, if that's what you're asking.
I wasn't sure if that's what you meant, because you were like,
No.
tore up, like it changed your life.
Tore up in the sense that I thought that we were on the same page, and once I found out we were not, I was just like over it.
That's also very Cancer.
When we were good, it was so easy. We didn't argue about nothing. Like I had no problem cuddling. I had no problem like communicating with him as often as we wanted to. I had no problem being like, I mean, I was still myself, like, you know, not too much emotion, like not too much, but it's like in a way that is like the same way I show you love is like, like you get it even when I'm being like, you know, a bitch about it.
There.
You know, rubbing your back with a broom type love, you know? It was just so easy. I didn't have to think. I didn't question whether or not, like, you know, he really liked me or not.
What was it that he did that made you feel comfortable to be in that space?
The security fell from up under my feet. You know, it's like if you're standing on a trap door. I fell in the trap door. Because then, like,
you make it so sinister. Like he had this trap and plan for you.
It's like it's my villain origin story. Truly,
I believe it now.
There was a situation where like his ex started like popping his head back up in the picture, and then he got confused about us. And for me, confusion is
confusion always
dead
leads to
on
failure.
arrival.
Yeah,
and
I
so
agree.
for me, that was my first time really feeling that, and I think that's what.
Would you ever get back together with it? Would you spin the block for him? What if he told you? What if he was like? What if he acknowledged, like, Freddie, I was confused and that was unfair to you, and
He's acknowledged that.
And you still didn't spin the block?
It's hard for me though, because like once I resent somebody, it's kind of hard. Like
you said don't be trying to double back.
I already despise you, but I don't despise him anymore. Like if at my big age now, if I were to spin the block with somebody, that might be the only person. And if you watch this, don't get no ideas. But what
spin the block. It's time. Clearly, he ain't nothing happening over here. Like
I don't
he's waiting
settle
for you.
just because of
You know what? It's not settling. There's a girl that I worked with. She was a nomad for 10 years. And I was like, how did you meet your husband? I was thinking like it's going to be this grand story. And she's like, we used to date before, like when I was in college. She's like, and we could never get it right. She's like, and then I moved away. I was a nomad for 10 years and I had a boyfriend for a long time. And then we broke up. She's like, and when I came back, like we ran into each other. And like we still kind of had like this little spark between each other. Like that was kind of like, well, what if, you know? And then she's like, eventually we did get together. And I was like, wow. I was like, did you know that he was the one? She's like, no. I was like, then why'd you marry him? And she's like, well, honestly, it was something that I had to get over. She's like, because my pride kept telling me that I was settling because I couldn't find someone overseas. She's like, I felt like I spent 10 years traveling the whole world and I didn't find someone. She's like, so now I'm just going to go back to someone because I know them. And she didn't want kids. She didn't want nothing. She has a daughter now. And she's super happy with him. And when I met her husband for the first time, I was like, this makes so much fucking sense. Well, this is why you guys are married. So I think it's more of a pride thing. And that's the only reason why I would spin the block.
But when we talk about Sex and the City and I say Miranda is literally like me.
And she spun the block.
She spun. I think the person that I'm speaking of is like my Steve. And I hate to say that publicly, but if I was to compare him
At least it's not Big.
What a travesty Big was. Oh my God.
He got better.
Did he? They just manipulated each other that entire relationship.
Yeah, that's true.
They both suck.
I don't think that I'm Miranda, but I do think I have a Steve.
Okay.
I feel like I have a Steve.
Or do you have an Aiden?
I don't know that I have someone who's borderline Aiden. Because Aiden is like very, like he hit every mark. You know what I mean? He knocked it out the fucking park. And I think if we take away a few things, in my mind, like my fantasy, if we spin the block, he'll be Aiden.
Okay.
With all of the stuff out of the way now. But I wouldn't be Carrie. I won't do that shit.
Well, speaking of sex, is sex a big thing for you in relationships? Yeah,
honestly, something I was super embarrassed about for a really long time was that I was in a sexless relationship. And I used to think it was so embarrassing because I was like, oh my God, like when you're with someone, you're supposed to have sex and all this other stuff. But to be fair, I was actually kind of, I mean, no one will know who I'm speaking of except for you. But at the time, I was young and he had mentioned that he had dated someone who was older than him and that had taken advantage of him. And so like he kind of felt uncomfortable at times, like having like actual like penetrative sex. And me being super young, like, I mean, at that age, I wish that I would have been like, yeah, I don't have to deal with this. You know, like, I think you should probably see a therapist or like, this isn't the right relationship for me. But instead I was like, okay, like, well, then I guess we'll do it when you want. Or like, you know, like whenever it feels comfortable because I didn't want to be nasty, like in that sense.
And to be fair, when you're younger, you're a lot more like...
You tolerate bullshit.
Tolerate a lot more than you should, for sure.
So much more. So I thought for a really long time, and I remember thinking like, oh, I want to marry you and I want to like be with you and all this other stuff. And we were like not having sex at all. We would maybe like, he'd fucking give me head maybe like once every 2 months. And I still didn't cheat on him. I should have fucking cheated on him. We've been to so many no, I'm being so like in hindsight, that's the only regret. I wish I fucking cheated on him.
Oh my God. I don't
Your last name is Minaj and you ain't throwing my thought. Come on. No, but aside from that, I did learn that sex is important, especially sexual chemistry, because I've had some amazing sex since being single. Like outside of him, like I remember thinking like, oh, he was great. Now I'm like, he ain't even in the top. Well, I was about to give my number. He ain't even in the top 20. Okay.
Oh,
Yeah, no. But now, like, not to be a simp, but like that person, it was nice because we did do a lot of things that I was curious about doing with someone, and he let me do whatever I wanted to him. So it was like, well,
The sexual chemistry is 100% more important than the sex itself.
ooh, wait, explain the difference.
For me, sexual chemistry is the idea that y'all are on the same page when it comes to everything. How often, how nasty, how, spontaneous. Like, y'all need to be on the same page. Like, if y'all both agree, like, I'm okay with 2 times a month, that's fine. But if one person wants it 2 times a day and one person wants it once a month, like, that's gonna cause a big rift. And I think people aren't honest enough about the fact that sexual chemistry is very important. For me, I'm a bottom. I like to get cracked rarely. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so that also adds to like my apprehension when getting
you're not
into
a real
relationships. But when I bottom, I'm like a power bottom. And so it's like, I'm insatiable. Like, I want to do it for hours. And then that's another thing. It's like, nobody's, who's lasting hours? I mean, niggas be lasting like hours. Okay. I'm just saying. But,
Thank you.
For me, I'm like, sometimes I'm like, am I asexual? Like, cause I don't crave it. Like, I don't want it all the time. Unless I want it. And then
Are you sure that it could be that you're also like gaining that type of intimacy from other forms, though? You know what I mean? Like, it isn't necessarily physical.
Yeah. For me, like, intimacy is like, if me and you were dating, like, this is an intimate thing, right?
Right.
This would make me want to fuck somebody.
Okay, I was gonna say, because after this, like, if it was really good, then I'm like, we're going home and we're having sex.
Yeah.
Okay, wait. So the guy who you would spin the block with,
I didn't say I would.
he is.
I didn't say but I would. I'm not. That wouldn't be off the table. No. But go ahead.
You just said the same thing, just like in different words. The guy that is not off the table with, would you say that you had sexual chemistry with him to where you would do it more than not doing it? Like how you said, where you're like, oh, like, I'm okay with doing this a couple times, or like if I'm only in the mood,
I'll
that
be
type of
honest,
thing.
I don't remember. We dated so long ago. Like, I'm 29. We dated when I was like 20, so I don't remember. But I remember us having good sex. I do, and I remember him being down for stuff that he wasn't necessarily into until
How comfortable are you? Like, so let's say you do have sexual chemistry with someone, and then like they want to try something crazy. Like, so for example, there was this guy that I was talking to, and we had good sexual chemistry, and then he was like, I want you to tie me up and fuck me like that. And I was like, kind of like turned off by the idea, because I'm like, we have good chemistry, but like, I don't know that I'm like there with you. Like, I almost feel like that's something that I would do with someone that like I've been dating for a while, not because we're bored, but just because I feel like it requires a different level of trust. Yeah. Even though like potentially I could kill him because he's tied up,
right.
But it just made me feel really uncomfortable.
There's not too many things I'll say no to.
Really?
Yeah, I have very few limits.
I have a few no's.
I definitely have no's. I definitely have hard no's. Yeah. And you should have hard no's, especially when it comes to kink. My general list, like when people ask this question, is always this: no animals, no minors, no.
I didn't even know that those things would come up.
You have to be prepared every day. Not every day, but like sometimes I'm like watching porn and something will come up in my algorithm, and I'm like, oh, this is a no.
I don't even listen. We're not affiliated. If anyone, I don't know what's going on in his life.
Like, and then I listen to a lot of sex podcasts, and like I hear people are like into like knife play and like. You know
what? I did hear about
all types of things, and so no non-consenting individuals, no minors, no animals, no knives, nothing that can actually harm me. Like I'm into like you can tie me up, but like we would have to know each other for real. Stuff like that.
Would you really like that though, being tied up?
I would. There's only a few people I can think of that I would allow to do that because I don't trust that nobody won't kill me.
Okay, fair. I guess it would depend on like, Yeah, my no's are just like, you're gonna think I'm so boring and so lame.
I would say because I'm like freaked out. So like my hard no's are like the limit is high. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'm
But
not.
most people
I
are.
don't like. I'm not into like bodily fluids. So like, no.
Not even
pee,
semen?
No, not really.
Oh.
Like I'm not like, oh, like come on me, or like, you know what I'm saying? Like if it happens, it does. But I'm also just kind of like, okay, like, you know, just wipe it off.
Boring.
Yeah. I'm not really into that. I'm also not. I don't like. You know what? Let's just change this because I don't even want to go down that path. I do not like getting my ass ate. I don't even like getting my ass touched.
He's a true top.
I don't like I don't know. It's just weird.
Well, I think that pretty much wraps up.
Well, let me see what else was on this list.
We touched on everything with
Did
on
we?
accident.
Oh my
I didn't even
God.
have to like ask most of those questions. We got into most of everything.
No, are you boyfriend material? Can you be friends if it didn't work out? Let's go.
We talked about being boyfriend material. You asked me if I would date myself, and I would say, well, yes,
oh,
but
we
I
did,
would.
huh?
I would have a lot of complaints.
Okay, great. I like that it's showing me like cheating, kind of.
Yeah.
Can you be friends with someone if it didn't work out? I think that's the final one.
No.
Yes, you could.
We can be cordial, but we can't be friends.
Why couldn't you be friends?
Why are we friends?
Why are you not friends?
If we like each other so much, why aren't we still together?
Because maybe it's just not like, maybe it just wasn't right. I think you're looking at it from the lens of like,
I told you it's strict around here.
Yeah.
If we break up, then let's be broke up, girl.
no. Okay, maybe what if you weren't title wise? What if you were just talking to some, like the white man? What if he was like, hey, I think we should be friends? Would you be friends with him?
Yeah.
But like actual friends with him. Like you would go out with him, hang out.
And we
go
talked
to
about this
things.
in the friendship episode. It's just like, but why? You know?
We didn't talk about that specifically.
No, but I'm saying like making friends as an adult, like it has to come organically, you know?
Yeah. So when I first moved out here, I dated this guy, and we were dating for a couple months, and I wasn't ready for what he was trying to give me. He was very much so like, I want marriage and this and this, and I'm like, dude, like I just graduated, I moved to another state, like I don't know what I'm trying to do. But we're really good friends now. Like I would invite him to my wedding. I would.
So we kind of just talked about this on my other podcast, right? You are not coming to my wedding if I've seen your ecstasy face. There's no reason for that, because then I have to explain this to my man.
But I don't think that you have to. I feel like depending on the type of relationship that you guys have, like if it's just a hookup, like there's people that I'm cool with that I like, you know, hooked up with, but like I wouldn't invite them to my wedding. Mm-hmm. But like this is an actual friend. Like he's an actual friend. And I think we both were mature enough to just say things didn't work out, but we have enough in common to sustain a friendship. That doesn't mean that we have to be attracted to each other sexually. I think we can both, in general, like you have to think about it. Even if you're in a relationship, you find other people attractive. You find other people sexually attractive.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just a matter of creating those boundaries, but like you would know if that person's trying to cross them.
Would you tell your husband that you fucked this person?
Yeah.
Okay. And you would expect him to be okay with that?
I don't know that I would expect anything from him. I would just want to be honest. And
I just
would hope.
more so wonder why the need. I mean, I get it if y'all are friends. Like if y'all are friends.
Okay,
friends,
look at it this way. He and we've known each other for the last 4 years, about to be 5 years, and I'm probably not getting married this year or next year. Maybe the following year. I don't know. It depends on how things work out.
Speaking into existence.
Maybe when I'm 31 or 32, I'll be ready. By then, we've known each other for 7 years, and we haven't had sex in 7 years. So it's like, I would tell him like, yeah, we dated 7 years ago, and we had sex 7 years ago, and we're good friends now. Are you okay with, you know, me inviting this person?
For me, it would be like if my man was inviting people to our wedding, assuming that I give into the idea of having a traditional wedding, because I, as we discussed, think it's bullshit. He would just have to keep that information from me. Just don't tell me if you fucked him, because it's gonna irritate me.
See, that would actually make me raise a red flag if something like that. Like I would feel fake doing that to him, because I would.
Then
Like,
don't do it. Don't invite.
Well, we don't have to invite him, but then there's people that I wouldn't invite. Like, we're just gonna make up a fake name, Troy.
Okay.
I would not invite Troy because he and I are friends and we do have a friendship, but there's more to the friendship, and part of it is that we have never gotten the chance to really explore a relationship for either career-wise.
So it's too much of an open door.
Yeah, there's too much of an open door where it would feel very disrespectful and inappropriate. Even if I've closed that door and I've moved on and I'm now getting married, it would just feel very like disrespectful because we've never had just a friendship. The friendship always had an intention behind it. Whereas this current friend that I
see
have,
what you mean.
we've both closed in and we've moved on.
You're not coming to my wedding, and I'm not coming to yours. Like, it's just like we don't. I don't feel the need to, like, if we break up, like, we can be cool and cordial. I don't feel a need for us to be friends.
When I say breakup is different though, because there isn't an ex-boyfriend that I would invite to my wedding.
Okay.
But if there's someone that I dated that we didn't actually go anywhere, maybe, but not. And I can only think of one person.
It's a no for me, dog. I mean, I hate to be like that cut and dry about it, but I can't think of one person who, like, I'm friends with people I've talked to, you know, but again, I'm coming from a place of somebody who's never been in a relationship, so I truly don't know how to answer this question.
You know what? This episode is gonna be a little bit longer because I got another question for you.
Okay.
Because yesterday, I shared a story with him about someone, Troy, who I've gifted things throughout the years of our friendship.
Oh, I'm glad you brought this
Prior to us having any type of sexual relationship, I gave him gifts. They weren't anything. It wasn't anything like hearts or like cards or anything like romantic. And when I went to visit him, the most recent time, I was like, "Oh, where's all the stuff that I've given you?" Because like I know where it's at. Like we FaceTime. And he was like, "Oh, my boyfriend made me throw it out." And I was just like, that's so weird. Like, I wouldn't tell my boyfriend to throw out anything that was given to him from a friend, because by that point we hadn't had sex.
I'm your friend. Troy's not your friend.
Troy
is somebody you've seen in an ecstasy state. Okay.
Why do we call it ecstasy? Should I?
I get that from Wendy Williams. Like, you've seen Troy in a different manner in which I've seen you. That's not your friend. So if I started dating Troy and he had relics of y'all's relationship, I'm like, why do you have this? Do you still want to be with him? Because you can go. The door's open.
I guess it depends on what it is. So like, I gave him like a hat, shorts, a shark stuffed animal, and I think I got him like a blanket, like a throw blanket, and like he didn't have any of those things. And like, what if he just really liked the blanket? What it doesn't mean that it's like reminiscent of me. Also, I think it's just different because like we didn't have sex. Like, if somebody gave me something that was like, I don't know, like, I mean, I have things that I don't want to say his name. So
so you did bring it up, and you talked about, like, I had a bracelet from like somebody bought me. I had that bracelet for
Spin the Block.
It wasn't from him.
Oh,
it was from somebody else.
Well, that person also Spin the Block.
A really nice Swarovski bracelet. Like,
I know who you're talking about, because that was that year that you bought that really nice wallet.
Him.
Yep, I remember. Okay. Ooh, I didn't know that you still had that.
And I still had it because it was a cute bracelet. I wore it all the time, like, and I had no sentiment attached to it. It was just a nice bracelet. Yeah. And when it finally broke, I was like, "Thank the Lord."
Okay, but let's say you got into a relationship, and you knowing how you feel about this person that you're with now, and knowing how you don't give a fuck about this person anymore, because you clearly, when it broke, you were like, "Thank God." Yeah. If he told you get rid of that if he's like, "Oh, I like your bracelet. Where'd you get it?" And you're like, "Oh, someone I was talking to gave it to me." And he was like, "What the fuck? Why do you still have that? Throw that away." You're not gonna be like,
I don't know if I would have even told him that. I would have just been like, "Oh, it's just a little Amazon." I would have told him it probably was because
that makes it worse. That makes it worse. If somebody,
it would make it worse theoretically, but it's like I'm avoiding a problem right now. No. Like, I don't care about. But then what if he finds out later on? That's also, yeah. I mean, true. Because then if I found out later on, it would piss me off. Like, why would you lie about it?
Exactly. And I'd be like, okay, so how long have you had this bracelet for?
We've discovered that I'm a hypocrite.
Listen.
But okay, so if I was to be truthful and I was like, oh, somebody gave me this bracelet and my man who I'm in a relationship now with is like, get rid of it, I would probably give it to you or something. Like,
Yeah, because you want me to fucking hold on to it if you guys break up, so then the shit could get it back.
No, it's just like I'm not gonna fight with somebody. I'm not gonna fight with my man about this. Like,
But
I'm
it's
just
not
gonna
a
get
fight.
rid of it.
I would ask. I would be like, oh, why do you want me to get rid of this? And if it's like, oh, it doesn't make me feel comfortable, I'd be like, why does it make you feel comfortable? Oh, because I gave it. You got it from somebody that you used to talk to. Okay, well, I'm here with you now. I'm not with them anymore. Like, my feelings are here with you. I just like the object. So if you want to buy me the same one, that's fine, because I just want this.
Now we're talking about an object, an inanimate object. I'm with a man, an animate object. Okay. If he wants me to get rid of it, I'm not gonna fight about this. I'll just get rid of it because I love you now.
I think it just depends on the object. Now, if it was like a teddy bear that said "I love you,"
burn it.
Yeah, that's different. That's different. That has like sentimental value.
Right.
But like someone getting a hat,
and
like
I feel
shorts,
like, but
you don't like.
we agree on that. Like, I just feel like there's nothing.
Yeah, like that was very much so. Like, oh, here.
Like if a man gave me a car, you want me to give the car back? Are you out of your goddamn mind? No, I'm keeping the car, babe. But like a bracelet or like anything else, like
no. If somebody gave my guy a car and it was a nice car, I'd be like, baby, we both whipping this bitch. Like, I
you want some gas money? I got you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we see each other there.
Yeah. Well, this has been fun.
It was. I feel like fuck. For this to be the longest one, and you have no dating experience.
And most of it's been about you, so it's been great.
Honestly, we didn't even scratch the surface. I feel like we need to go deeper as we continue our episodes. I feel like we get warmed up, and that's like when we really start taking off. And then once we take off, it's like the episode is
now
done.
I feel like we've been on the phone, but we have to cut it at some point. So thank you guys so much for tuning into this week's episode of Something in Common. Make sure you subscribe on YouTube at Blackberry and on your favorite streaming platform, and rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend to tell a friend, and we will see y'all next week.
See you.